Hello, welcome back to this Python mini series where we're creating a Python custom parameter interface for one of our tools. Alright, in part one, we talked about the initial setup, how you hook it up to your tool, and just put something on the panel. Nothing useful yet, but it's there. In this part, we're gonna still work on the backend. We're gonna put the code into a proper class outside of Houdini, not on the Python panel. So this is gonna be a much professional way to do it. And this is how I do all my tools. I just put my code outside of Houdini on a class that I just loaded. Very simple code in the Houdini part, and the rest of the code is just basically outside. It's just scripts, files on this, which is exactly how I like to have my tools. And this is also the way that SideFX does the tool. So that's why I adopted this method of doing it. All right, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I did mention, I think in part one, that this is not documented. There is some documentation. I'm gonna leave it here under the video so you can see the documentation that SideFX has. We are doing some more things that is not documented there, but the part that hooking the parts in Houdini is documented there. You can read it. You can just make sure you're understanding what I'm saying. And that's it. Let's go to part two now. Hopefully you are enjoying this and you learned something. All right, let's do it. Okay, welcome back. In the previous part, we left here. We just had this, our new tool with this pane, these panels, this parameters interface that is made by Python, basically. So what are we going to do now is what I always do, and I think is the proper way to do your interfaces, is to make this into a module, a Python module, and that's how SideFX makes all its tools. And this is just always better because you just keep your tools outside of Houdini. I don't like to have this bunch of code on shelf tools here or on Python panels and stuff. I don't like to do that. I like to have my code outside of Houdini. That way, if anything happens to Houdini, I just have my code living outside in a file, right? So what we're gonna do is just go to the again to power in the Python panel. We're gonna open our asset that we are editing here, and then we're gonna edit the interface again, right? So we have this code here, which we're gonna move to an external module. So let me bring the next part. So I'm here on my Houdini properties. Wherever you have your properties, go to your Houdini folder. There you will have to create this folder, Python 2.7 lives. If you don't have that, just create it. Just name it exactly as that. Houdini will look for modules in this folder specifically, and a couple of other folders. But for now, we're gonna use this because I guess it's the simplest. So inside here, we're gonna create a folder. You can see I already have one. So let's create a folder. Let's call this window asset tut for tutorial. That is not how you spell tut. There we go. So now inside of here, we're gonna open with the VS Code. I'm gonna open this folder with VS Code. If you don't know how to set up VS Code for Python, it's pretty simple. You just install the Python extension, and that's about it. It's pretty simple stuff. If you want more details about it, you just go to mix-training.com, like that. You can go there to my website, go to courses, and there's this Python Bytes of Python course. If you view this course, at the bottom, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a few lessons that are free here. You can see this is the environment setup, it's free, and there's the materials translator is free. The material setup
takes you to how to the environment setup. Takes you how I set up the VS Code. Actually, I use PyCharm in this one, but it tells you how to use that. Also, for VS Code, it's very simple. The only thing I do in VS Code to set it up for Python is in the settings. If you open the settings here, settings, and then go to here to the settings JSON file. The only thing I do is set up this line here. So whatever you have these Houdini libraries on your Houdini installation folder, find this, and Windows will be different, of course, C, program files, side effects, whatever. And then find this folder, and I also add this libraries folder for side packages force, which is where the PySide2 packages are. So you just need to set this. If you're on Linux, you can set it like this, or just put it the path to whatever this are on your system, and that's it. Save this file and should be ready to make the Python stuff here in VS Code. All right, let's close all this stuff. So we are here in the folder we opened.
Hey you, it's me again. Just a quick interruption. If you're enjoying the content here in the channel, if you enjoy the content, if we have helped you in some way, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. This will help us reach more people and help more people figure out this crazy world of Houdini. So please just like and subscribe if you can. Now back to your tutorial. Bye.
So I'm gonna create here a file which is gonna create underscore init double underscore .py. So this is just so this becomes a module. We're not even gonna put anything here, just gonna kill it. Just Python, whenever it finds this, considers this a module. So I'm gonna create another file, and this is gonna be called exactly like this, window asset dot like that. Oh, actually not like that, .py. So this is gonna be the actual Python module that we're gonna create. And if you go back here, you can see this is what we're creating in this folder. Inside this folder, we create a file with that same name, and this one there's underscore init underscore .py. Okay, this has to be called exactly like that. This can be called whatever, but just like to call it as the same name as the module. So then here we're gonna import stuff like import. If you put those import statements that I show you, you can import Houdini here, or the Who module. You can see this is just giving you Houdini completion, what UI dot display message. You can display a message or whatever. So it's giving you the Houdini display, the Houdini completions there. So what we want to do here is create a class, and this is how I always do my tools. I create actual classes because that's how you're supposed to be doing stuff professionally. So let's call this mix window toot again, toot. And this is going to inherit from PySide. So we need to actually import the PySide stuff. So this, before we do that, let me just define the initializing class in it. Self, and actually, yeah, self parent none. Okay, this doesn't make sense right now, but we can say print. Actually, this has to be it's a function, so no, don't make it bigger. Actually, I guess I could make my font bigger. You guys can see it a little bit better. 30. Yes, that's better. Okay, so I just put something here. So inside print mix window running. So we need to import the PySide classes because we need those to create any widgets we wanna import here. So let's just say from PySide 2 again. If you install the if you did the paths correctly, this guy's here, this specifically this one, you should have the PySide completion there as well. It's gonna find that from PySide import Qt widgets like that. Now I'm gonna copy and paste this line 3 times, actually 4 times, and I'm also gonna import Qt UI tools there, and then Qt GUI, and we're gonna import, which I don't know if we really need GUI, but we're gonna keep it there. I'm gonna put here Qt core. I'm gonna import Qt from that, so I don't have to type Qt whatever. Okay, so that's what I want, and then this class needs to inherit from a widget, because the return statement here for this class, which this class always has to be named like this, needs to be a widget. You can see it's returning a widget, in this case a button. So we need to return a widget, so this class needs to be a widget. So we're gonna inherit this from widget Qt widgets dot qFrame. We're gonna inherit from frame, so now this is gonna be a widget, which is great. And that is going to be fine. Okay, this is for now what we need there. So now we're gonna go here to Houdini, back to this Python interface that we're creating, and what we're gonna do here is import that module that we created. So if I bring this module, we don't need to specify any path or whatever, because Houdini should find this module directly. So let's just go window, from window asset tut import window asset tut, which is basically saying from this module import this file. That's exactly what it's saying. And then I'm gonna call reload. So reload just basically whenever the file it's edited, it's gonna reload it here when you run it again, because if not, you're not gonna have any changes on the changes are not gonna be reflected on your tool here. So you just reload it every time and click apply, and then we have some errors. So this doesn't exist because Houdini was open when we created this. So we need to actually close Houdini and open it back up. So let's do that. All right, so we're back in Houdini. Let's open that Python panel again. Python panel, open our Python panel. And there we go, we have an error. So there it says that there's no module called that. Because yes, there's only one T here. So I'm gonna have to just go roll with the error, so I don't have to reload Houdini. So I'm just gonna remove a T from here, apply, and now it works. But let me just open the Python that we have here. I reload this. Okay, so it's working. Part of it is working. It's getting this is importing this, but we are not actually using it yet, right? Because we didn't tell this code to use it. So let's bring now the code that we just did, so we can see what we are actually doing here. Just make it a little bit smaller, keep it on top. Now, instead of doing this, we're gonna actually, let's just delete this, whatever. What we're gonna do here is return this class now, this class here. So what we need to do here is just say mix, from this mix asset to mix window asset tut dot. And now we need to type the name of the class because we are in this module. Now this file, the class mix window dot, and then the parentheses, then apply, and then we have an error. You can see there it is an error because it doesn't return a py widget or a py side widget. But you can see it says here on the bottom, mix window running, which is exactly what we type here, which seems like it's working to me. It's actually working. But which just means that we haven't added any widgets here. What we need here, instead of just putting a return statement here, actually, if you try to do what we had before here, it's not gonna work. If you say, let's create a button widget with the qt widgets dot q push button and call it hello from Python, and then try to return that here, this button. If you try to return this and to refresh here, it's gonna say like, no, this is not what I want to. The init should not return anything. So what we actually do, or what I actually do, just create a layout. And then the layout is just returned, and then we are all happy. So I'm gonna create this section here. Let's call this layout. And the layout, it's basically just a way to organize the widgets that we're going to be creating. If you don't know what a layout is, I recommend you go to our website. Again, let me bring my website back. Over in the browser of your preference, type mix-training.com. Go to the courses, and then we have this one where you can buy if you want to. If you are not ready for that, to buy that, you can also check our other Python course here, this project manager here, which is actually free. And this guy takes you to a bunch of lessons on how to create a project manager. Basically, it's a basic version of this guy that I have here. But it tells you all this stuff, takes you to all the parts that we are basically covering here, a few of them. So you can check that out and for more in detail explanation, I guess. So let's go and start making this layout, and we're gonna do fairly simple layout, self layout, qt widgets dot qb box layout. Yes, box layout. And then this layout, I'm just gonna set self dot layout. I'm gonna add this widget to this layout, this button that we created. Instead of returning it, we just add it to a layout, and let's call this button. Actually, we're adding this widget to this layout, and then lastly, we just set the layout to this widget. We are actually this class, which is actually a widget. Set the layout. So we just say self. She's talking about self. It's talking about this class. So it's saying set layout, and then we pass it this property that's holding that layout that we created. This guy, right? So we create a widget. We create a layout that's a type vertical box layout, which is basically just adding stuff one on top of each other, like this, like one like that. And then we just add this widget to this layout, and then we set this layout to this widget. And if we save this and go back to Houdini and reload this, you can see this. We have here, we have an issue. Oh yes, I forgot here to call the super of the class, sorry. So we have to call the super function here for this class, which is gonna just be this, comma self, dot init, and then parent. So don't really worry much about this. This is just the initialization we need to do for the class. Just requirements for the class, the name of the class, the type of the widget, creating the initialization function, which is basically, if you know programming, this is basically the constructor. And then we just call the superclass of the widget, and then we basically initialize this object. If we save this, reload now in Houdini, you can see now we have another issue. Oh yes, my mistake here. What I did here is I didn't put the return here in Houdini. I didn't put the return keyword here. Sorry. I need to sense this return statement needs to be always there. So we return whatever comes from this class, which in this case is this widget. We return it to this, and then we're gonna see it here. So let's apply, and there we go. Let's see. You can see we have our button now. Yay, the button! Woo! You can click it all day and do stuff with it. So now this should be reflected if we just accept and close this. This should be reflected on this guy now. You can see now this is the properties of the node that we created. So this is great. Now the code is not embedded in this interface that we created. This is just calling our external code here, which is living on this space here over here. It's living here outside of Houdini, really. It's not in Houdini. So if you want to share this or share this between the studio or share it with someone else, you can just send this file plus the PyPanel here, and then anyone could have this. Actually, you can see this is the PyPanel. And the PyPanel, if you open it in the text editor, it's just gonna have that code exactly. It's nothing big there. You're not compromising your code if you lose something or whatever. So you could just send this to this folder to someone else, or again, if you're at a studio, you will several computers, or everyone will point to a shared drive where these tools are being loaded from, and everyone will be having the same tool all over the studio, right? All right, so now we did this. We prepare everything. In the next part, we're gonna be creating the UI, the custom UI, loading it here, and then we're gonna be doing the connecting all the properties to our asset and all that stuff. All right, guys. Hopefully you are enjoying this, learning a lot, and I will see you in the next part.